Good morning, everybody. BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Lakers, we play at 4 o'clock today, 7 p.m. Eastern, in Charlotte. And this is a very sneaky basketball team right now. And the reason why is because they've won 3 of their last 5 games, including a blowout against the Chicago Bulls. Let me see. Let me make sure I know what I'm talking about here. No, they didn't blow the Chicago Bulls out. They won by 2. They beat the New Orleans Pelicans in a blowout. That's the game that they last played. I was looking at their schedule here backwards, but yeah, man, this is a team. I saw the highlights on all 5 of those games, and I can tell you that they are playing a lot better basketball than they had been throughout the course of all season long. Just like I said in regards to the Boston Celtics, but opposite. I said this is a great time to play the Celtics because they're not playing well. It's a horrible time to play the Charlotte Hornets because they are playing well. And the thing about it is, what you end up thinking a lot of times is going up against teams like this, like, oh, it's the Charlotte Hornets, they're nobody, they're not very good, we can just beat them. They're coming off a 30-point win against New Orleans with Zion on the floor, CJ on the floor, Troy Murphy on the floor. You understand what I'm saying? Alvarado out there. They beat those people by a lot, and they did it with production up and down the roster. There's something that needs to be understood about the Charlotte Hornets right now that I don't think people are going to really understand just off looking at the team. There are certain pieces on this team that provide them switchability and length. Taj Gibson is still playing basketball at a pretty high level. They've been using him. He had 12 minutes in the last game, gave him 6 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Taj Gibson, 176 years old, still playing ball, still looks pretty good. Miles Bridges had a huge game. 8 of 13 from the field, 2 of 4 from behind the arc, 22 points, 3 assists, 1 block. That's another big guy. Switchy, kind of like LaMelo Ball, obviously. Superstar LaMelo. Young guy. We know him. 9 of 21 from the field, 4 of 13 from behind the arc. He's a shot jacker. He's going to jack shots. No one has a greener light than him in the entire NBA. I promise you, nobody. He shoots whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and he gets assists off of every bit of what he does. So it's not like he's a selfish player, but he is a wild card. He's going to shoot the ball at absolute random, at random spaces, teardrops, everything. He is one of the more cerebral and talented basketball players in the game today. Should be an all-star this year and is healthy right now. So you got superstar talent on the floor that you're going up against tonight with him on the floor. Then you got a guy like Josh Green, who is not of the Charlotte ilk. He's been playing in the Mavs situation for the last couple years. Was traded there last year in the PJ Washington trade. So he is in Charlotte, but not of Charlotte, if that makes any sense. Then you got Nick Smith Jr. He is a player who is starting to come along. They're starting to utilize him. Gave him 23 minutes in the last one. Very talented guy off the dribble. Can get other people involved. Also pretty lengthy. Extremely talented player. Wiry, young, upside, in the sky. So Nick Smith Jr. is now a regular rotation piece because they got the young fella, Brandon Miller, excuse me. He is my name and I forgot it. Brandon Miller, who is out for the season with some type of shoulder surgery. So now they got to use people like Nick Smith a little more, Seth Curry a little more, Vitaly Micic a little more. So you look further down on that depth chart, then you see Musa Dibiate, fantastic rookie center that they got. So even though they moved Nick Richardson to trade to the Suns, they had Musa Dibiate there providing them some center depth, as well as Taj Gibson, who plays a little small ball center, along with Mark Williams, who didn't even play in the last game, but you have to deal with because he's playing like an all-star. So it's like this keeps going. Then you got Josh Okogie, another switchy defensive guy. He had 3 steals, 2 blocks, 2 assists. Has been playing great for the Charlotte Hornets. Has a bigger role with Charlotte than he had in Phoenix. And they're going to use him a lot tonight. He is going to be somebody that you have to deal with. A very big body, somebody they throw on Braun. Somebody that's going to be a problem, that they throw on Rui. You got to be aware that Josh Okogie is in Charlotte, but not of Charlotte. You see what I'm saying? You got some different types of guys here. Now you got Seth Curry coming off a big shooting night. They've been utilizing him a lot since, of course, Brandon Miller went down. Got 19 minutes going to him. He shot 6 of 9 from the field, 4 of 6 from behind the arc for 16 points. You can't have Seth Curry going for 16 points on you tonight, y'all. That's too much production coming from him. Then you got a guy by the name of Vitaly Micic, as we mentioned. One of the better assist rookies from last year. He played for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They put him on this team this year in some type of random trade at the end of the season. He is an assist guy. So you got ball movement with LaMelo, ball movement with Vicic. They get either all other players involved consistently. This is a fantastic offensive rebounding team. One of the best offensive rebounding teams in basketball. It's not a fluke. They got the talent to do it. With Gibson, Bridges, Ball, Okogie, DiBiase, Williams, they all rebound the ball very, very well. You need to deal with these people. And you got Isaiah Wong on the back of the bench. He's a guy from the second round of last year's draft that I was really excited about. Ended up going to Indy, found himself over here somehow. This guy can play. You got to deal with Isaiah Wong. Even if he gets 3 minutes, he's probably going to do damage in 3 minutes. He's that kind of guy. So I look at a Charlotte team that is not trash and has gotten a lot better over the last couple of weeks because of the pickups of Josh Okogie and the overall improvement of guys like DiBiase and Nick Smith being thrown into the roster for whom are more talented than people they were using before. You see what I'm saying? So now you got to deal with the talent of Nick Smith because they're not able to utilize Brandon Miller. And what's that other guy that they got? And I will let you know right now in our injury report. But there's another name of their shooting guard that they're not going to be able to use tonight. So that Cody Martin. Cody Martin's a pretty average player. He gets a lot of minutes with Charlotte. He's in Charlotte. He's of Charlotte. He's not out there. That's Nick Smith right now. That's Vitaly Micic right now. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you got more talented, actual talented people playing for the Charlotte Hornets right now than you've seen over the last couple of weeks, and it's resulting in being a much better basketball team than their record shows. They are a 12-30 team. I would tell you that they are more like San Antonio last year, in my opinion, right now, to where, yeah, you're probably going to beat them if you show up, but they have players that can go off and make this a really difficult game for you. And if you show up thinking you're playing the old Charlotte Hornets or a team that's 12-30, then you're definitely going to have a problem with them tonight because they're so much better than that right now. And that's why I try to do homework on teams over the past 5 games or whatever they've been doing, because I need to know what the most recent thing is, not necessarily what the zoom out is. I need to know what the hell I'm running into right now with them. And right now, you're running into a team that has a duo of LaMelo Ball and Mark Williams, and Mark Williams has been playing like an all-star. And so that's what people need to understand. They got a 7-foot guy who rebounds the ball like crazy and does big things. He did not play in the last game, meaning he's well rested. They gave him 31 minutes against the Portland Trail Blazers. He went for 15 points, 3 blocks, 1 steal, 3 assists, 9 boards. This is who you're dealing with. And he did that against Donovan Clingan, one of the best defensive players at the center position you're going to find. So, they lost the game against the Portland Trail Blazers because they took the Portland Trail Blazers lightly. They went into that building. Denny had a big game. Tamara played pretty well. Jeremy Grant is now back. Shaden Sharp's playing well. They just got a lot out of people. In Charlotte, at the end of the day, they went into Portland and were not prepared to beat them. But that doesn't mean, and they didn't have Melo. Melo did not play in that game, so that had a lot to do with it as well. But they still got a double-double out of Josh Okogie with 3 steals on top of that. They still got 14 points out of Green, 12 points, 3 assists out of Micic, 17 points, 2 blocks, 5 assists out of Nick Smith. You see what I'm saying? This is what they did against the Portland Trail Blazers. So, I look a little further back, and they had lost that game, and then there was another game that they lost against the Memphis Grizzlies, which outclassed them because Memphis didn't take them light. Scored 132 points on them. 50% from the field, 44 from behind the arc. So Memphis played a tough game, and still, as good as defensively as Memphis is, Charlotte dropped 120 points on their head. You see what's happening here? Charlotte's fine in production, especially on the offensive side. Melo went for 22, had 6 assists and 8 boards. Williams went for 38. 38 points against Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. Do you understand what I'm saying to y'all? This ain't nothing to play with. Mark Williams is a center. We have trouble with centers. He went 14-18 against some of the best defensive centers out there. 10-13 from the free throw line. Repeatedly got to the free throw line. 5 assists on top of the 38 points. I'm telling you, this ain't the Charlotte you think, because they haven't had Mark Williams playing at this level ever. They didn't have Nick Smith playing in no type of rotation at all. They didn't have Josh Okogie defending people like crazy, getting 6 points and 3 steals in 13 minutes of play against the Memphis Grizzlies. DiBiate's getting better by the second. You see what I'm saying? So whatever you think Charlotte is, just remember the addition of Nick Smith, the emergence of Mark Williams, the presence of a DiBiate, and the insertion of Josh Okogie changes everything. And they ain't had these people in rotation before a couple of weeks. So that's what I'm telling y'all. They started the season off losing everything. They inserted these people playing at the level they're playing. Now you got a problem. So they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. They had LaMelo Ball, but they did not ultimately. No, they had Miles Bridges. He was out there for 17.6 assists, 1 steal, 5 of 14 shooting. They didn't have him really when he shoots this poorly. 2 of 8 from behind the arc. Nick Smith also had a bad shooting night, and that's where you can get them. They're gonna hoist a lot of threes, but they're not gonna really make them. They're not a good 3-point shooting team. LaMelo Ball is a wild card. He's gonna shoot whatever. He could hit 10 threes. He may miss 20 threes. He literally is a wild card. If he attempts 55 shots by himself, no one should be surprised. It's just LaMelo Ball. That's how he rolls. But they do got Seth Curry out there. Josh Okogie hit 2 threes in this game, 2 of 2, which he's not a 3-point shooter, but if you leave him back there, clearly you hit him. So this is a team that ultimately just could not hit enough shots to beat a Memphis Grizzlies team that shot very well. 11 of 31. Their shot diet from behind the arc wasn't good enough for the attack that they had on the interior either. Points in the paint, they got 52 out of 50. So it was really just not enough production to match the Memphis Grizzlies. They ran into a hot Memphis Grizzlies team, of course. You're talking about 12 out there, doing 12 things, 16 points, 13 assists, 3 steals. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Desmond Bane going 10 for 15, 4-7 from behind the arc. Like when Memphis is playing like that, they're very difficult to beat. Luke Kennard had a massive shooting night, 7 of 11 from behind the arc, 8 of 12. Somebody needs to get Luke Kennard out of Memphis. If they're really going to shop him, he needs to be landing somewhere, because that 23 points off the bench against Charlotte ain't nothing to play with, man. 7 of 11 from behind the arc, that ain't nothing to play with. So, yeah, but that's a whole nother story. The point is Charlotte put up 120 points in that game. 120 points is more than we average. We can't have a bad defensive night against them. Cannot do it. Not if you're going to have a bad offensive night. If you play like you did against the Clippers, against Charlotte, the Charlotte Hornets are going to beat you just like the Clippers did. That's just what it is. You got to show up like you've been showing up these last couple games to beat this team. And take them as seriously as you took the Warriors. Take them as seriously as you took the Celtics, and you're going to beat them. You're definitely going to beat them if you take them seriously. But if you don't, it could be a long night for you. You know, they went into Dallas, won the game, 110 to 105. Dallas shot 18% from behind the arc, 6 of 32 shooting. That's putrid. They shot 17 of 39 themselves. Charlotte did for 43% from behind the arc. That's really good. So that's where they were able to win. Had 28 assists in that game on 19 for the Dallas Mavericks. You know how I feel about the assist category these days. We talk about it a lot. You need 30. They got 28 and they beat the Dallas Mavericks. Their offense, the correlation between how much you score and how much you assist as a team tends to be very consistent. Now, if you have great players off the dribble who can just do their own thing, like Anthony Edwards, it may not necessarily do that. But if you don't have those type of players and you're not getting 30 assists as a team, you're probably in a little trouble. Now, granted, they got Kyrie Irving, but that was a fun game to watch because Kyrie and LaMelo were going back and forth. But they just didn't, the Dallas Mavericks just could not get enough out of other people to really compete. Dinwiddie had a bad shooting night, 0-6 from behind the arc. Najee Marshall attempted 6 threes, missed 5 of them. Gafford had a big game, 12 of 15 from the field. He had a massive slam in that game that I won't soon forget. 7 blocks, 31 points, 3 assists, and 15 rebounds for Daniel Gafford. He went plumb loco on them. Klay Thompson only attempted 5 shots. So Dallas had a really quiet night for the most part. 5 of 15 from P.J. Washington against his old club. Did get 9 boards, but the production just did not. Gafford and Kyrie didn't have enough help, and Charlotte did enough to win the game. Mark Williams with a double-double, 13 and 13 with 3 blocks, 1 steal, 2 assists. Keep telling you about this Mark Williams dude. He's going to have a big game against you tonight too. Nick Smith, 19 points, 1 steal, 1 assist, 3 boards in 30 minutes of play, 5 of 8 from behind the arc for Nick Smith. They got 10 threes between LaMelo Ball and Nick Smith, y'all. These are players that are going to break you off the dribble. We're going to need to be good on our point of attack defense tonight. Vando, obviously, our guy Christie. These guys are going to be important tonight, especially if Gabe Vincent doesn't play. This is not the game for Gabe Vincent to miss. This is not the game for Gabe Vincent to miss. We're going to need him guarding LaMelo and or Nick Smith. So it's going to be tough tonight if we don't have that particular player, from which I understand he may not play. Miles Bridges against the Dallas Mavericks had a pretty good shooting night. 4-7 from behind the arc, 8 of 15 from the field. You know what I'm saying? Josh Green did not play well against his old team. 4 points, 2 steals, though. He did some things on other areas. 2 assists, 5 boards, but he was 0-4 from behind the arc, 1 of 6 from the field, going back against the Dallas Mavericks. So, yeah, Cody Martin had a pretty good game, 4 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from behind the arc, 10 points and 7 assists for Cody Martin. Look out for his playmaking ability and his rebounding prowess. He almost had a triple-double. Cody Martin almost had a triple-double. While I'm calling him trash, he had a good game against the Dallas Mavericks in 20 minutes of play. 10 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds. So I stand corrected. The boy can play a little bit, and you got to take him seriously. If you don't, he can do that to you. And Seth Curry came back, had a jogging night, 1 of 3 from the field, 1 of 2 from behind the arc in 16 minutes, 3 points, 1 steal, 1 assist against his old team. So they didn't have great production out of everybody. They really didn't. DiBiase had 10 points, 4 of 6 from the field. So, you know, that was good there. And then Josh Okogie, 2 steals, 1 assist, 4 rebounds, 5 points. 2 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from behind the arc, but his defense was, once again, very telling for a team that consistently gets a lot of steals from what I'm seeing. This box score is telling me this is a good steals club. So be careful with them in regards to that. And with Mark Williams out there, they're also a good rim protecting squad. DiBiase, they can, I'm telling you, y'all keep believing Charlotte ain't no good. It's a great night to believe that. If you want to get your butt whooped, I promise you, it is. It's a great night to think they're not playing well. Before that, they beat the Chicago Bulls. They were on a 3-game winning streak at this point, or 2-game winning streak at this point, with the Dallas win being the 3rd. They beat the Bulls, man, in a tight game. Of course, this was the Ball Bowl. All 3 of the Ball brothers in the house. You got Lonzo on one side, you got Melo on the other side. It was a 50% shooting night from the field for both teams. They both shot 48 and 96. Yeah, 48 and 96 for the Hornets, 48 and 95 for the Bulls. So that's stellar for both of them. They both shot pretty well from the 3, 14 to 40 for the Bulls for 35%, 13 to 34 for the Charlotte Hornets for 38%. They both played well on the glass, 44 for the Charlotte Hornets, 45 for the Bulls. 13 offensive rebounds there. Keep an eye open on that for the Charlotte Hornets, 12 for the Bulls. So they gave up some too. That's something to pay attention to. Lakers, get your second chance boards out there tonight. 9 steals once again for both teams. 2 blocks for the Charlotte, 3 blocks for the Bulls. So the production was there, man. The production was there for both teams. 125 points dropped on the Bulls' head. 26 and 9 assists from LaMelo Ball with 2 steals on that. 15 points for Seth Curry. 7 to 10 from the field. 1 to 2 from behind the arc. Nick Smith had a 50% field goal shooting game. 6 to 12, 3 to 7 from behind the arc. Be careful with Nick Smith. 15 points, 1 steal, 5 rebounds in 26 minutes of play. Josh Green shot pretty well. 3 or 4 from the field, 2 or 3 from behind the arc for 8 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds. The steals are everywhere, man. Mark Williams, 19 points, 19 rebounds, 7 of them offensive. 2 blocks, 1 steal, and 3 assists. Please don't take Mark Williams lightly tonight. Please. Please don't take him lightly. I beg you, Lakers, do not take this man lightly. 21 points for Miles Bridges as well. 1 steal, 3 assists, 4 rebounds on 8 of 15 shooting, 3 of 6 from behind the arc. He shot very well in that one. So, I'm trying to paint the picture here. I know exactly what I'm talking about. The Charlotte Hornets are not to be toyed with right now. Throughout the course of the last 7 years, you could say Charlotte's trash. Over the last month, no. They just simply haven't been. Before that, I didn't see the highlights of this one, but they played against the Utah Jazz, beat them 117-112. Shot 50% from the field, 48 of 85 to the Jazz shooting 43 of 93. So yeah, that's how that went. They won the boards by a lot, 45-36. Got 11 offensive boards off that. It did turn the ball over a lot. That's something to pay attention to. 18 turnovers in this one. So Charlotte, you can beat them there for sure. And they had 66 points in the paint. I wonder what the box score looked like. Once again, 117 points dropped by the Charlotte Hornets. They score some. Brandon Miller was still out there, but we don't really care too much to talk about him. He did have 3 steals. We miss you. Get back soon, Brandon Miller. But Miles Bridges had a 25, 1 block, 1 steal, 4 assists, and 10 rebound game there on 9 of 16 shooting, 3 of 7 from behind the arc. Mark Williams against the Jazz had 31 points, 1 block, 2 steals, 2 assists, 13 rebounds, 6 of them offensive, 12 of 14 shooting. Game changer. Absolute game changer. LaMelo Ball had 27 points, 3 blocks, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds on 11 of 21 shooting, 2 of 9 from behind the arc. His three-point shooting can leave a lot to be desired. He does attempt a lot for his percentage, in my opinion. But, hey, man, they give him that green light. Nick Smith had a bad shooting night that night. 0-5 from the 3, 0-5 from behind the arc, 4 assists, 1 rebound. Definitely did not help the cause in 16 minutes of play. Cody Martin had a good game there. 3 of 6 from the field, 3 of 4 from behind the arc, 9 points, 2 rebounds. But, you know, it was the top 4 of the Charlotte Hornets that really got him. Brandon Miller really did have a good game there with 3 blocks, three steals rather, 1 block, 20 points. But they miss him now. But, man, Bridges, Williams, and Ball went crazy. And Williams, game changer. Do not forget about Tejon Salone. He had 14 minutes in this game. He hasn't really been playing much. They kind of moved him out of rotation lately. But he's still a high-level rookie, another big, switchy, 6'9" type dude. If he decides to play tonight, you got to guard him from behind the arc. He can get hot back there. He can be good in open court. Not really defensive as of yet. Still has a lot of growing to do. But if they put him out there, he can go to work. So be aware of Tejon Salone. The chance of him getting some minutes probably aren't great. But he may do something. And Daquan Jeffries. I haven't mentioned Daquan Jeffries. But they did have him play out there a little bit in the New Orleans game, which is the last matchup they had in garbage time. And if I'm not mistaken, he did some good things. So let me go ahead and give him some shine out here and talk about his production a little bit. He had 2 of 8 from the field, 2 of 7 from behind the arc. Not great. But he did some things on the defensive end. 2 steals, 3 assists, 7 boards for Daquan Jeffries on plus 27. So, you know, 27 minutes of play is what they gave him in the last matchup. He may play tonight. You may see Daquan Jeffries, and he'll probably build upon what it is he just did there. And that DiBiase dude, man, 13 boards in the last game, 9 points, 1 steal, 1 block against New Orleans in 29 minutes of play. I take him very seriously. Musa DiBiase, 4 offensive rebounds. Take him very seriously. So that's what it is, man. That's what it is. You're running into a Charlotte Hornets team that is better than they're supposed to be. They're in a good stretch right now, ready to take a team like the Lakers, who are coming into their building thinking they're going to suck, for granted, and to beat them bad. I'm telling you, this is a trap game if I've ever seen one, because you got a bad team that's not playing bad at all right now, who've incorporated defensive talent into their situation and young guys that they've drafted who are better than some of the guys they've been using. And now you got to deal with them because they're getting used to being on the floor a little bit. Nick Smith has been playing a couple games now. Okogie's comfortable a little more in this rotation. Mark Williams is rested after not playing against the New Orleans Pelicans. This is not the night to toy with this basketball club. LaMelo Ball, healthy, from Los Angeles. You know how you feel about LA. You know how they feel about the Lakers as a family. If you think this is going to be the game you walk in their building and not take them seriously, you will lose. I see it coming. I don't expect this to be nothing but a close game tonight, unless Charlotte just has a dud of a basketball game. I don't think this is going to be a blowout unless we come ready to play a team like the Celtics or the Knicks. We're going to probably have to deal with a really tough game tonight. It's just what I come to tell you. So that's what it is. We're coming off some really good wins. We've been beating people. We've been showing up for it. Golden State, we just beat by 10. Obviously, we beat the Celtics by like 21. Love that. Beat the Wizards by even more than that. Lost to the Clippers, but did have a 1-point game against the Brooklyn Nets where, could have been a loss, but we got the win one way or another. So we're pleased about how that ultimately transpired. And, we've been finding our way, man. Bringing back Vando, Dorian Finney-Smith and Vando being on the floor together. It looks great for us. So we're definitely going to be able to put some defense on the floor and force some turnovers tonight, get some boards tonight, which is going to be very important. But it's one of those situations where you really need the Lakers to show up the same way, Let's see what the injury report tells us. Anthony Davis, a game-time decision with a foot. This ain't the game tonight. This ain't the game to sit. Sit tomorrow. We play Philly tomorrow. Sit tomorrow. Don't sit tonight. Not against Mark Williams. That'll be a problem for us. Rui Hachimura, game time decision with a calf. Gabe Vincent, like I said, game time decision with a knee. Bron James, game time decision with a foot. And, of course, Jalen Hood-Schifino out. Good to see Vando not on the injury report. Christian Wood, of course, out, always out. And for the Hornets, Cody Martin is going to not play tonight. He's not going to play tonight. Cody Martin not playing for certain. Of course, Brandon Miller out for the season. Grant Williams also out for the season. And Trey Mann, a very talented young player, not playing tonight. Also why some of those Nick Smith's minutes are in place because that shooting guard position is open. So, yeah, no Trey Mann. The Lakers are going to be wearing the yellows on the road. The Hornets are going to be wearing their road blues at home. That's what you're going to see there. And I would advise the Lakers to be very careful sitting people tonight. I understand why you would. This is supposed to be a soft part of the schedule, but we have had a tendency as a team to walk into games like this against Detroit, against the Dallas Mavericks without their stars, and just expect that our minimal effort is going to beat a team that we expect to not be any good. As I've been trying to paint the picture over the last 26 minutes, this is not the team to do that. This is not the time to do that to this particular team. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They got some really good disruptive players. They got superstar talent on the floor. And so if you're not going to respect that by suiting up and being ready for them, this is going to be a dropped game. We're probably going to drop the game. So that's what I'm telling y'all, man. This is not the night to toy around, especially with the way they steal the ball and stuff like that. Rebound the ball. No. It's not the night to take off. I understand we play Philly tomorrow, and it may make a lot of sense for people to look at the Charlotte Hornets and say Charlotte's the weaker team of the two. But I've done homework on both of these teams, because I'd be damned if I watched 5 highlights of the Philadelphia 76ers after this basketball game tonight. I didn't. I watched them yesterday. Philly's not the better team between the two of them right now. Charlotte is. Charlotte's playing better basketball than Philly right now, for what it's worth. Especially since Joel is expected to miss tomorrow. Yeah. The thing about the Philadelphia 76ers is they're a more prestigious name, but they have a far less athleticism within their roster. Their roster is up and down. Most of them dudes are athletic as meat. So that's the game you probably, depending on Joel, if he plays, that's the game you probably rest some people and probably still feel good about getting a win. I understand that, you got to deal with the fast pace of a Tyrese Maxey. I understand that Paul George is always a wild card, at any point. But Paul George is a bit longer in the tooth right now. He's starting to play better, but he ain't indie Clipper Paul George to me anymore. He's not. He don't even look like that player to me anymore. He may get back in that type of shape, but he's not in it right now. If I had to choose between the two games, when I'm going to take my foot off the gas, it's against Philly, not against Charlotte right now. Charlotte has the younger, more athletic, more talent in the center position. Clearly more talent at the center position without Joel out there. This is the night you play Bron, play AD, hope to get a blowout, and then make a decision on them tomorrow. I'm telling you, that's how you play this. So that's what I want to say. I'd love for our stars to play both of these games. I'd rather us not take either one of these teams for granted, really. We want to get every win we can, especially in this quote-unquote soft stretch before we start playing the likes of Milwaukee and Denver and Orlando with everybody back and stuff like that. That's coming very soon. Clippers twice in a row and all types of garbage that they really scheduled us. We want to win these games, so the importance of taking advantage of a lesser team for us to get rest and things like that makes so much sense, and that's why this is such a dangerous trap game. Because if you zoom out and look at the Charlotte Hornets, of course, the game you sit everybody. If you sit everybody and you run your Ruiz and your lesser guys against this Charlotte Hornets team, they will outclass you with better players on the basketball floor. That's just what it is. This ain't the night to do that. Treat this Hornets like you would treat San Antonio, not like you would treat the old Hornets that they've been throughout the course of the beginning of the season. If you approach it that way, I think you'll be fine. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. I hope I painted a strong enough picture for people to understand that I do believe this will be a win tonight, because I do believe we're playing great ball. And Charlotte tends to take their foot off the gas just like they did against Portland. But they've been showing up for some games, obviously, that you would expect for them to lose. I just want us to take this team seriously tonight. And if we do, the win should be there. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.